one thing to unite us all, the Cracker Barrel rebrand sucks. And everybody on both sides of the political aisle agree that this is just horrible to look at. So Cracker Barrel has been this long-standing American brand that is rooted in like this deep Southern tradition. And the new logo is pretty ugly. It's taken out all the character, all the story, all the tradition. And everybody on the internet agrees that it's just a terrible rebrand. Look at the photo here. So the one on the top is obviously the old school Cracker Barrel logo. And when you see that, you know exactly what you're walking into. And the one on the bottom there is this brand new modernized version of Cracker Barrel. Now, I know everybody is piling on this rebrand, but what very few people are talking about is how Blackrock is involved in the Cracker Barrel world and quite possibly this rebrand. There are a couple of theories out there. Let's go over some of this. Now, some of you may know that Blackrock is the world's largest asset manager, and they have been known to be the company that has been buying up all of this private property in the US, which is having a really big impact on the housing market. They have right now about $12.5 trillion in assets as of 2025. And BlackRock operates as an institutional investor. That's the sort of tagline. And it says it holds voting power with a lot of these companies, but it does not necessarily operate or manage these companies. So what's the role of BlackRock and Cracker Barrel? BlackRock is one of the top institutional investors in the Cracker Barrel Old Country Store. That's the full company name of Cracker Barrel. And as of early 2025, BlackRock holds over 3.4 million shares, which is about 10 to 11% of the company's stock. Now, the official message that is out there today, you can Google this and ChatGPT will tell you this. Officially, BlackRock does not control operations. Its large stake means that its buying and selling activity or voting choices can meaningfully impact the company's stock and strategic direction. So they want you to believe that BlackRock is not at all involved in something like the rebranding of the logo of Cracker Barrel. But, you know, you sit back and kind of look at how BlackRock and other companies like Vanguard, which, by the way, Vanguard is another major investor in Cracker Barrel. These major companies have absolutely had a hand in changing American culture and the American economy in really big ways. So you can't help but ask, is this an intentional crash and burn type thing? And a lot of people are asking this, and there are even some people on Reddit who are like, hey, so I work at Cracker Barrel and this is what I see is happening. And it really seems like this is an intentional thing. So let's take a look at this Reddit post. Obviously, Reddit is, you take it with a grain of salt, but I did find this post interesting. This Redditor says that Cracker Barrel understands that it's been losing its identity. So this is the scourge of private equity. Once they gain control, it's a full sprint to make, quote, line go up, no matter how terrible of a long-term position it puts the portfolio company in. The goal is to pump up the balance sheet and then resell the company at a premium before everything goes to shit. Cracker Barrel managed to carve itself a niche with its rustic aesthetic and store design, but now that the hard work of building a brand is already done, all of that can be sacrificed in order to cut costs. Yeah, there won't be any reason for customers to remain loyal anymore, but that will take a while to kill the company. And in the meantime, the budget is looking mighty svelte. It's like taking the controls of a passenger plane, selling the engines mid-flight, then parachuting to safety before the plane has a chance to crash. There are some theories online that these investors like BlackRock are intentionally tanking a Southern American brand because it holds so much meaning for the Deep South, right? And all of the racism in the South. Who knows if that theory is true, but there is definitely a lot going on here when you look at the before and after logo that really points to so many changes in American culture where we have moved away from tradition, we've moved away from character and beauty. And when it comes to all of these new types of branding and marketing campaigns that have taken place over the last couple of decades, really, this is the ultra modernization of our culture that has resulted in a lot of ugliness, in a lot of sanitized visuals that we're seeing that really don't have any character. And while we say to ourselves, who cares? Like, I don't even eat a Cracker Barrel. I mean, me personally, I think the only time I've eaten a Cracker Barrel in the last 2 decades of my life was in 2021, maybe just one time. I don't eat a Cracker Barrel regularly. Not that I have anything against it. It's just I don't really eat there. But it's not so much about the Cracker Barrel logo itself. It really points to a lot of what it represents in our culture, which is that tradition versus utility when it comes to everything in brands, art, architecture. There's something happening in our culture over the last couple of decades where everything is made ugly. Everything is made to be this sort of efficiency over beauty, and efficiency and utility over story and character. And everything is getting rebranded. We've seen it happen to Aunt Jemima, to Uncle Ben's, to what's another big one lately? I mean, even something like Bud Light, right? They tried to rebrand using what's the Dylan Mulvaney, all of this stuff. And when I first saw the before and after of the logo, I thought to myself, and I think many of us thought this, I said, there has to be a middle-aged white woman wearing a pair of ugly glasses behind this. There's just no way that this rebrand happened at the hands of white men, so to speak. They had to have brought in some new executive who thinks that she's opening up the door for a new, not anti-racist world by changing the logo. So let's take a look at who was behind this rebrand. Here she is, Julia Perry. I could not draw her better. If I sat down and tried to put to paper exactly what I envisioned in my mind that this person looked like. Of course, she has her pronouns in her bio. She's the VP Marketing Communications at Cracker Barrel. I'm dying laughing. And then this is her, I think this is on Facebook. So she reposted the Facebook post 4 years ago from Cracker Barrel. Okay. And this post from Cracker Barrel 4 years ago said, at Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, we've been on a journey of improvement and understanding. As individuals and as a company, we believe that when we harness the uniqueness of our differences, we become better. A Cracker Barrel dining room is a place where people of all ages, races, genders, ethnicities, you know what I'm saying, walks of life, political preferences, and sexual orientations can come together and feel at home. For more information on our diversity and inclusion initiatives, please visit, and they share the link. And she reposted this and said, this post makes me proud and happy, smiley face. Of course she looks like that. Of course that is the person behind the rebrand. Of course that woman would make things ugly. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I truly believe with every bone in my body that these white libs, excuse my language, want to make our world ugly. They want to take out character. They want to take out tradition. They want to take out all the story. And this is why they did the whole rebranding with Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben's, because they said it was racist. Everything now is racist. Everything that could possibly come from the South is racist. I grew up in South Georgia. Pretty much all of my childhood, from the time that I was 5 years old until I had left at 18. I lived about 30 minutes outside of Savannah, Georgia. So I grew up in like the deep South. And Cracker Barrel is just like, it's one of the things. It's one of the things of the South, right? And as much, you can say that you hate the South all you want, but it has a lot of character. And it's always these white feminists that want to come in and rip out any tradition and character that it might have and make it ugly again. And you know what? This kind of ugliness that we see in branding, that we see in art and architecture, it matters. It is reflective of what we hold valuable as a culture. And everything is turning ugly now. And of course, because we are in this, we're moving past this super ultra woke era, a lot of people are unhappy with it.
I saw on the internet, dude said he ate in a remodeled Cracker Barrel and he hated it. And I want to join in on the hate. If the Cracker Barrel don't look like the Jim Crow South, I can't eat there. You got to have the racism aesthetic. You got to have the rocking chairs and the hint of segregation in the air. If I don't feel like I'm on the set of Sinners, then how do I know I'm in a Cracker Barrel? This is a gentrified Cracker Barrel. They done took all the character out of it. And I know the edges of the pancake ain't burnt. I gotta feel like somebody wants to say, good morning, boy, when I go in, with respect. And no respect at all. I feel like they want me to work there, but they don't want to pay me ever. And I've got to live there. That's Cracker Barrel's thing. If you take that away, what is it? A Denny's, a IHOP, a place I don't want to be at.
And now let's take a look at this headline. CBS News says Cracker Barrel loses almost $100 million in value as stock plunges after new logo release. And then the first line here says, Cracker Barrel shed almost $100 million in market value Thursday after its stock plunged following the release of a new logo. The new design eliminates a long-standing drawing of an overall-clad man leaning against a barrel in favor of a cleaner logo featuring just the chain's name. So shares of Cracker Barrel fell $4.22 or 7.2%. to $54.80 in Thursday trading, shedding $94 million in market value. The stock had dipped to a low of $50.27 earlier in the day, representing a loss of almost $200 billion in its capitalization. You know what? In a way, the world is healing. This is almost encouraging to me because people are sick of this. We're sick of it. We're sick of these libtards rewriting everything in our culture. They're making everything ugly. And I know this, again, it seems like, oh, who cares? It's just the Cracker Barrel logo. There's always that one person nipping at your heels. They're like, who cares? Why are you guys complaining about something so stupid? This is just yet another installment of many different chapters of our culture just being completely sanitized. It's sterile. Okay, we got to a sterile modern culture. And it's because, like, you think about the pre-industrial era. When you look at the buildings, think like Gothic cathedrals, these Renaissance palaces, Baroque ornamentation. Things were beautiful. Buildings were not just meant to be functional. They were not just something that you walked into and worked in and lived in. They were meant to embody meaning. They were meant to inspire awe. They were meant to reflect the beauty of God and the beauty of humanity. And architecture used to be deeply tied to tradition, symbolism, and beauty. Now, you think, oh, what does this have to do with Cracker Barrel? It's absolutely related. You think about the Industrial Revolution, right? This rapid urbanization and efficiency and mass production became the focus. So then you saw all of these materials like steel, glass, and concrete that were allowed for speed and uniformity. Uniformity was a really big thing, but this came at the cost of artistry. And this moves us into the modernist 20th century where form follows function. That's the quote. That's the principle. And beauty ended up being beauty and ornamentation and design and character were seen as unnecessary. They were seen as very wasteful. So you can see this trickle all the way down. It trickles down to the Cracker Barrel logo. You could say that the ornamentation and the character was the old white man sitting there leaning against the Cracker Barrel. And he's gone now because it's wasteful. Why does he need to be there? He doesn't need to be there because we're about minimalism now. Because minimalism is synonymous with progress. We don't need this extra stuff. We just need the 2 words Cracker Barrel. That's all we need. I'm sure everyone has seen The Devil Wears Prada, right? One of the best movies of all time, girlies, right? The infamous scene where Meryl Streep, the skin melts off her face as she's lecturing Andy about how you think that you have chosen something out of that bin, what does she call it? Some like casual corner bin, that blue you think you're wearing. Well, it's actually cerulean, and it trickled down from the very top of the high fashion arts, and it came all the way down to that discount box that you pulled that sweater out of. To me, it's the same concept. You think that the Cracker Barrel logo is just like sitting in the casual corner box and it means nothing. We are here because everything has trickled down from the modernization after the pre-industrial era, after the Industrial Revolution. It's all trickled down to this modernist uniformity, minimalist, which is synonymous with progressive now. And it's resulted in this massive, huge cultural shift where everything is sterile. Okay, you think about the suburban life in the strip malls and the fast food chains. I mean, even down to how McDonald's has become more and more sterile over the years. Like when you were a kid, do you remember McDonald's? McDonald's had all the colors and all the playpens, and it was had a lot of character. And even think about Cracker Barrel had this sort of cluttered tradition, right? Old Americana decor. You walked into the lobby of a Cracker Barrel, it had all the trinkets that nobody needs, right? Back to utility over beauty and tradition and character. All those little trinkets at the Cracker Barrel store, you don't need them, but they are so adorable and they carry the story and they're very Americana South. That is a pillar of this part of the country. And now we're down to these like sleek minimalist aesthetics in order to appeal to modern sensibilities. So you asked me, what's the big deal about the Cracker Barrel logo? What's the big deal? The big deal is that our country and our culture has declined so much in beauty and tradition and character. I don't want to live in a world where I see sameness everywhere. And you can even apply this to the way that models and celebrities look today. It's like a one face type of thing. I was watching, Evie Magazine likes to post a lot of montages of women and celebrities in the early 2000s. And every woman had their own unique face. Before the lip filler craze and before the Botox and the buccal fat removal and the facelifts and the cat eye surgery, they get this, they literally get, I think it's called threading. They get a thread in to snatch the face, right? And it makes it all look the same. They get the nose jobs. Everyone looks the same now. Yes, they're all beautiful. Of course, Bella Hadid is beautiful. She's been voted like the most beautiful woman in the world. She is beautiful to look at. But I do miss a time where women looked different. One of my favorite Christmas movies is The Family Man. And Taya Leone? She's so cute and beautiful in that movie. But every year when I watch that movie, I look at her face and I'm like, you don't see natural faces like that anymore because all the women look the same. It's sameness. This is what the minimalist, progressive, ultra modernization and the technology has done to our culture. So I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not. So the question remains, did Blackrock intentionally have a hand in this strategic direction of Cracker Barrel to make it crash and burn on purpose? I've had quite a few people message me and they're like, I think this is intentional. I think that they are intentionally destroying this American Southern brand just for the heck of it because they can. Just like the way that they buy up all this property and they drive up rent prices and they drive up housing prices because they can, because they're going to make money off of it somehow. Because as Cracker Barrel continues to disintegrate, they're going to sell it for parts and somehow still make a profit off of it. Did they do it intentionally? Did they do it because it is this long-standing American Southern brand? Who knows? I don't know. All I know is that I would like to see more beautiful things in the world, especially in American culture. So don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to know what you think. Maybe you like the rebrand. I did get one person in my Instagram mentions, just one person who said that she liked it. So maybe you like it. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.